a while too, so I'm, you know. Okay, so Adam and Wes drew anyway.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so nothing to see there anyway. So,
all right, well,
cool. We've got a match.
Welcome everybody. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Big Head Joe. I'm bringing you round 9 of the Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's going to be the last round of a Swiss competition today. We've got 2 pretty exciting players for you. On your right, Chris Allen. Fan favorite Chris Allen is rocking a deck that everyone's been talking about on Twitter. And they're just keep telling us round after round, you have to feature Chris, you have to feature Chris, you have to feature Chris. And we're like, fine, we'll feature Chris. There's a big Twitter presence there for him. He's playing a Grixis Tezzeret control deck. I haven't seen the list. We're getting the deck list here in a second. But I'd imagine it might be close to what Patrick Chapin played on the Pro Tour. On the other side of your screen, Nick Spagnolo, an established player, someone who's been coming to pretty much all the Star City events and doing well, hitting X2, is still trying to break through into a recent top 8. So we have fan favorite versus established player. We'll see who wins this one. Looks like Chris leads off with that creeping carpet.
And Nick starts off with a Sea Chrome Coast and then an island second turn, and Chris is going to play a mountain into a Sphere of the Suns.
Oh, nice. Getting that acceleration going.
Get your counters on it.
Oh, you already got it? They're being typed up. If you need them, I can get them.
So it looks like the deck lists are being typed up, so we're not going to have immediate access to these. We might gain them.
Interesting. Why are they being typed up?
For top 8.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. For the thing.
Because the winner of this match makes top 8.
That makes sense.
Other people who are pretty much locked for top 8: Jerry Thompson, AJ Soccer. Like the mono red control player thinks he's locked for top 8. We might see him there too.
Huh. So Nick Spagnolo plays I believe it's Tectonic Edge, and then Chris is now. Okay. He is casting a Sphere of the Suns that looks like it's going to resolve. I guess the first one got countered. So now Nick is going to play a Jason Mind Sculptor.
Seems like a good call these days. Despite maybe some people playing without Jace, he still is so strong.
No, he's good, and he's going to face it. He's going to protect it.
Yep. Goes for the old Scry 1, bringing it up to 5 counters. He doesn't know exactly what's in Chris's deck, but no doubt one untapped red can only mean Lightning Bolt. Galvanic Blast, perhaps. And Galvanic Blast from Chris knocks Jace back down to 3 counters. Looks like is that an Inferno type hiding at the front of there?
Ooh, I did not see. You gonna be good there?
Jerry Thompson and AJ both distributed in the top 8.
AJ left me a present.
What did he leave you?
I think it's just like a crumpled up piece of paper.
What wasn't a toaster?
No. He said, I got you something. I will treasure it for always.
Looks like a failed attempt at a crane.
So now we've got, from Chris, that's Tezzeret.
There's the man
That's
himself.
a shiny Tezzeret, too.
And Tezzeret does a pretty good job against Jace because you play it out, you make your artifact a 5/5, you serve into Jace, and suddenly Jace is gone. Tezzeret is still standing. I remember people were saying Tezzeret is a new face of control. Okay, and so Gideon, now that Sphere of the Suns is a creature, Gideon was able to take it out because it was tapped.
It's not a bad play.
So
right back.
So now Gideon sitting on 4 counters, just out of creeping carpet range. Chris Allen stroking his chin very carefully, just as I like to do sometimes. Wait, is Gideon on 1 counter right now?
Well, he starts at 6 and he got -2, so.
Should be at 4, right?
Right.
Unless there was lightning bolt involved that we didn't see.
I don't believe so.
It looks like there's a single dimple on that dice, but
But I also think that that's a numbered die. I don't think it's actually a dotted die.
Fair enough.
So Chris uses the basically, top 5 cards, search for an artifact ability. He does have an Inferno Titan in his hand. And Chris is going to follow with a Jace of his own.
So Nick might have Gideon, but Chris has 2 potent Planeswalkers on his side. Let's see what
He basically just got to see 8 cards, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty good. It's not bad for 1 turn.
Yeah.
You have to look at the top 5, pick an artifact, and then brainstorm 3. It's
looks like he
pretty
drew
sweet.
Prophetic Prism, Tezzeret, and another artifact. I think it might have been Sphere of the Suns. I wasn't totally certain.
could this be the breakout performance that people have been waiting for from Tezzeret?
Yeah, I mean, it was talked about a lot of the Pro Tour. It was, the deck, and then it kind of fell off the radar. Okay,
Yeah.
so Gideon strikes into Tezzeret, Jace 187's Chris's Jace, and now we're right back where we started. Oh, is that a Phyrexian Revoker? I can't quite make out what that artifact is. It looks like Golem Artisan, but I know it's not Golem Artisan. So, okay. I think
The Everflowing Chalice, the F&M
Everflowing
Chalice.
Ah, the F&M Chalice.
Mother Loving Cup.
There you go.
And now he's going to use that to cast a card that he just put straight into his graveyard. Any confirmation what that card was he just cast?
Alright, Gideon sends in.
Okay, so he cast Slag Storm.
Alright, so Slag Storm, I'm guessing, took Gideon down 3 counters. And this means setting Chris up to potentially Tezzeret that Chalice toward Gideon next turn.
Yep.
Alright, Tech Edge down that Creeping Carpet. Seems pretty good for Nick. Looks like Nick is gripping a Mana Leak there, which will stop Chris's Tezzeret aspirations.
See, Tezzeret aspirations?
Correct.
That's awesome.
I do what I can.
It's fantastic. So
I'm no
there's,
linguist, but
there's
I try.
another tar pit.
Alright, in for 6. And so yeah, that Tech Edge drops Chris down to only 3 lands. Now he can't even Tezzeret at all. There's a Jace. Suddenly the tides have turned. The Planeswalkers are on Nick's side. Jace and Gideon, the indomitable duo, fighting. Okay. Looks like Chris
Yeah, he
has
doesn't
that
even have
prophetic
black mana right now.
Yeah, I mean, he can play that Prism, dig a little deeper, but Jason Gideon, not going to make things easy for him.
That'll fix his mana, and he does get a land drop off of it.
Okay.
But it's going to stall him a turn.
Yep.
Or 3 turns.
But, I mean, Gideon goes in for this turn, drops Chris down to 4, putting him on lethal the next turn. Calling aid from Nick, making sure that he has a way to finish off Chris even if something goes awry. Gideon serves Chris down to 4. And Chris looks, and things are not looking good for Chris. Okay, Tumble Magnet would have been a decent answer. Unfortunately, yeah, and there's not only is there a Mana Leak,
Yeah,
but,
he's going to scoop him up
there
there.
are 2 threats on the other side of the board. Yeah, that's it. So Chris loses game 1. The Tezzeret deck.
I like this camera. It has a very early 90s music video look to it. I like it.
I think someone said earlier that it, I don't know, just that it feels like it looks something like you put Vaseline on the camera. It's really interesting. It's like grayscale kind of, but not. The lighting in this room is doing crazy things. I know it looks kind of crappy to many of you back home, but we can't do anything about the lighting in this room. It's just really dark. Hopefully tomorrow maybe something will be fixed. We don't know. But at the very least, when these videos go live, if you're listening to this and it's not live, and I don't mean 9 minutes delayed like it is right now because of the stream, but like not live as in next week, the video quality should be much better. So yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to see a Grixis Tezzeret deck too for a while, but
We finally get a chance to, but we didn't get to see much action out of him game 1.
no, everyone wants to see this deck. We'll see how it goes game 2. It looked really good for Chris too. I mean, he had that early Tezzeret, followed up with the Jace, but then Gideon smacked Tezzeret, Jace 187 Jace. People were right back where they started, and then Gideon was able to clean up pretty handily for Nick Spagnolo.
Mm-hmm.
Just shows you how powerful it is. I think it's interesting. You know, a couple years ago, we might have seen creatures bashing into each other and trading off. No. Now the Planeswalkers are bashing into each other and trading off. You know, pretty crazy.
Yes, it's pretty amazing how that card type has kind of it's really changed the face of Magic, at least in terms of Standard.
Yeah, I mean it's just really changed the face of Magic all the way from Standard back to Vintage, where Jace the Mind Sculptor sees play. And I've heard of Tezzeret seeing some play in Vintage, but definitely Jace is the leading culprit.
Oh, I'd love to see Tezzeret deck in Vintage. That would be fun to watch.
Well, there is a Tezzeret deck in Vintage. However, it does not use the correct Tezzeret that we want to see. It uses the old one with Time Bolt. But yeah, in Standard and Extended especially. I mean, Jason the Mind Sculptor really pushed Planeswalkers over the edge as far as prevalence in all formats. But even before that, I mean, we saw Garruk Wildspeaker in Extended. We've seen Little Jason Extended. We've seen all of them in Standard, all the Planeswalkers, even Liliana Bess and Chandra Nolar. I think Chandra, personally, is a really underrated Planeswalker. I mean, it's probably not the greatest right now, but I mean, there are times where it's like Baneslayer Angels all the time. You can just play your Chandra, kill their Baneslayer Angel, and then still leave some counters on. The problem, of course, is that in the world where we live in, there are man lands, which are kind of a good way to balance Planeswalkers and makes doing anything with Chandra going down too low pretty dangerous. It's just going to.
This is a final call for pre-registration for tomorrow's Legacy Open. Once again, this is a final call to pre-register for tomorrow's Legacy Open.
Anyone who
open the doors
wants to run down here and pre-register for Legacy Open.
At that time, we will start taking signups for the draft opens. First one to start at 9 a.m. Second one will start at.
But you'll miss the top 8 unless you're like huddled out front on a computer or something.
Also, the StarCityGames.com dealer booth will be wrapping up right at the end of Swiss. So you've got just a little over a half an hour to check in with them, make your final purchases, get your deck ready for tomorrow.
Just waiting for these announcements then.
The buyers. We will be back here bright and early.
Be about the last announcements they make, other than like the top 8 and stuff like that. So, let Jared say his piece. Ain't gonna get mad at him.
Indeed. All right, so Nick was able to pick game 1. What do you think the key is here for Chris? Now, once again, we don't have that in the deck list. We saw Nick's deck list earlier in the day. Pretty standard blue-white cobbler.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen Chris's deck list. We don't know what we could really see. I don't know what's differentiating it from, say, Patrick Chapin's Tezzeret deck.
I think I can actually...
maybe pull it up.
I think I can find it, to be honest, so...
Okay, well, send Big Head Joe off on that.
It wasn't that hard. Just kind of went to 60cards.com and went to the first link.
All right, so this is what we see online. Precursor Golem, Kuldotha Phoenix, Galvanic Blast, Go for the Throat, Slag Storm, Everflowing Chalice, Sphere of the Suns, Temple Magnet, Contagion Clasp, Tezzeret, Jace, Cough of the Hammer. Lots of Planeswalkers happening there. Bunch of lands, Flash Freeze, Nighthawk, Crush, Memoricide, and Pyroclasm in the sideboard.
Very nice. Well, it's a very cool list.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Actually, I'm excited we got to feature this now. There's a lot of really cool things in there. We're not going to see that often. Kuldotha Phoenix. That's a card I've been trying to make work for a while, and I haven't been able to, but this is the deck for it. Plus, it's
First
sweet.
glimpse of it.
Yeah. Kind of cute with Precursor Golem, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's the instant metal craft there. Nothing wrong with that.
And, I love the 10-pack, 4 Tezzeret, 3 Jace.
Yeah. So we're here in game 2. Chris Allen starts off with a Dragon Skull Summit, a land we haven't seen for a while in Standard. Nick starts with a Celestial Colonnade, and Chris follows up with an island into a Sphere of the Suns. And then Nick drops a Seachrome Coast.
Sphere of the Suns, going to turbo things out. Oh, there's another Sphere.
Second Sphere.
So 2 Sphere. Not to be confused with 3 Sphere.
And Nick's going to play a Glacial Fortress into play tapped on turn 3. A little bit of a slow start. Chris has 5 mana on turn 4. Potentially 6 if he plays a land. And he's going to play a 3rd Sphere of the Suns. My goodness. All right, well, he really is powering out the artifacts here. So, but he missed his 4th land drop, so that's definitely...
So I just checked in with the Ryan. I took that for a second. Checking with Ryan O'Connor, who's playing the Naya deck, and he won his match. So it looks like he's going to be in top 8. So
all
Naya
right.
Also shaping up.
Not too bad. So Nick just cast a Squadron Hawk after playing he played the Tectonic Edge last turn. Got a Hawk, searched up another Hawk, and now Chris is going to fetch up a Mountain. At this point, having no lack of any color mana he wants. He could cast a blue Sun Zenith here at the end of turn for 3 if he wanted. He could basically cast any spell he wants right now. Even Elemental Appeal. Why not, right?
Sure.
Phylactery Lich? Actually, Phylactery Lich wouldn't be so bad.
I have to put some phylactery counters on some artifacts.
There you go. Let's get really confusing with the counters.
All right, so
There's
that's
a Memoricide.
Okay, that's the promo Memoricide.
Can we find out what he named it Memoricide?
Oh, I assume we'll see it
If it resolves.
If it resolves, yeah. If Ale gets stripped out of his deck.
Right. It resolves upon, or he names a card upon
Right.
resolution.
Very important. You can't just like if you go Memoricide and name a card. I mean, you don't do that. You have to wait for your opponent to let it resolve.
Right. It's just bad. It's just bad to do that. Period. You know what I mean? It's bad to.
Exactly.
It's just bad form. Like giving your opponent information. Not a good thing. So Nick swings in with his Squadron Hawk. After mana leaking that, and casts a Stoneforge Mystic. The Mystic is going to search up, my guess is correct, a Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah, what a surprise. But Chris, building up his resources, he has red cards which can deal with the sword. So let's see, it looks like his hand is Mountain, which he just played. And is that a
Old
Cough?
school revised Mountain there, like that. Looks like it.
I think that's a Cough. Yep, and here comes Cough of the Hammer. Certainly not. I don't think Nick Spagnolo was expecting Cough of the Hammer right there. This is going to be Flash Freeze from Nick. Yep, I think he's pretty sure. Yep, Flash Freeze, that's
Deprive.
Cough. Oh, Deprive. Cough goes down.
Your spells are splashy and exciting when they resolve. Unfortunately, he hasn't got a chance to resolve very many this game.
Yeah, Chris.
And Nick's is going to keep beating him with a 1/1.
Yeah, all you need is Hawks. That's how the John Lennon song goes, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, the triples for the Suns draw, one or maybe two would have been okay, but drawing all 3 really slowed Chris down, ironically, because he couldn't quite find the cards he was looking for. But obviously he's not down and out by any means. Still has a lot of live draws with 10 Planeswalkers in his deck. Jeez.
Yeah, right? We're going to try that again.
Yeah, and there we are, Jace the Mind Sculptor. I mean, 10 Planeswalkers, that's, you know, 1 in every, what, 6 cards should be a Planeswalker?
Jeez.
Oh, man, yeah, Nick has all the answers.
And he's just going to keep countering, and he's just going call, go right here. He's got another mana leak in hand. Well, the mana leak isn't as effective when Chris has 7 mana on the board, but still. Or all those spheres are still active at least, right? Yeah. Jace of his own.
Oh, man, yeah, Jace for Nick, too. So if you have 10 Planeswalkers in your deck, it's a 1 in 10 chance of drawing Planeswalker in any given draw? Is that right? Because you have 60 cards?
If you have 10?
Or is it 1 in 6?
1 in 6.
1 in 6, okay, so I was right the first time.
Yeah.
I was, like, worried that I'd somehow messed that up. Not exactly a mathematical person. Man, Nick certainly, yeah, brainstorms, and Chris just has nothing going on. He's holding on to a lone card over there. Those Squadron Hawks are doing what they do, which is attack for 1 and whittle your opponent down slowly but surely to create the Squadron Clock.
Squadron Clock. Yeah, I mean, the counterspells have been huge in this match. I think that's the one, I mean, obviously that's the one advantage Nick seems to have over Chris is that Nick's spells will all resolve. You know, and that's always, like, if you're playing against another control deck, that seems to be, like, pretty beneficial. You know? And that's the one thing that Joey's major problem with this deck is that a lot of times it seem to have draws like this where you just basically are doing nothing.
Right. I mean, you do have your really explosive draws where you're like, you know, Sphere of the Suns, Tezzeret, go nuts, right?
When it goes right, it goes really right, but sometimes it can just go really wrong, too.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
All right, and there goes Jace. Looking to 187 Spagnolo's Jace, which it does. So he's doing pretty well at drawing those Planeswalkers, but
they're not really giving him board presence because he just has to use them to fend off Nyx. Nick has colonnades. He's got all kinds of stuff at his disposal right now. Chris is holding one card to rule them all. I wonder what it is. There's another Jace coming right back
Another
down.
Jace. And at this point, he's like, all right, whatever. Faith Seal you. And Chris timidly pulls up the top card. Like, I don't know, a child raising his hand out of the cookie jar.
And
so it was a Jace, and Nick ships it to the bottom.
seems like a decent enough play. In for 2, leaving up 1 in case he activates the, unless he manages to drop a Tezzeret.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take any risks. Why bother, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Scalding Tarn for Chris Allen. It'll reduce Jace's Fate Sealing effect, but it certainly doesn't help him right now. Those Hawks are going to start crashing in.
I mean, I guess a Slag Storm would be really beneficial for Chris right now. If he ever gets to draw one.
Yeah, Slag Storm wouldn't be too bad, but even then, Nick just, I mean, still has his Jace active, still has all the cards in his hand that he needs to use, still has a Colonnade. There's sort of Feast and Famine. Gonna strip Chris's card out from under him.
And all his spells are going to resolve.
Yep.
Again.
Alright, so go for the throat. Takes down that in response to the equip, but since it gains protection from black, can't do a lot about it. Yep. Take 3. And yeah, Chris is out of cards, out of
this
options.
Seems like a
and
really bad position.
Yeah, soon he'll be out of life. Yeah, Tech Edge down that Dragon Skull Summit.
I think he might. I mean, I think he might still have a chance at top 8ing. I'm not sure though. I mean, with the other guys drawing around him, it might not be so
Chris
good.
Allen. No,
Yeah.
this match is for top 8. Winner will make top 8.
Yeah.
The loser will not have enough points to make top 8.
It's true. After looking
All
at
right.
it again.
Yep, and I think Nick's got this one. In comes Colonnade, in comes Squadron Hawk, and Chris packs him in. So I'm glad we got to this one while we're still there. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the crowd would have been very unhappy with us.
True.
So Nick Spagnolo wins 2-0 over Chris Allen, sending Tezzeret back, probably something more in the top 16, and moving Nick into a top 8 berth here at Star City Games Open Series in Dallas Fort Worth. Congratulations.